Hi, welcome to Reawakening Beauty. I'm your host, Shawna Patruno. I'm so excited to have you here. I love talking about all things skin-related, beauty-related, and mind-related. Here I empower you, mind, body, skin, and soul. Hi, welcome to Reawakening Beauty. I'm your host, Shawna Patruno, and I'm here with Amanda Storaunet. I hope I'm saying your last name beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
She's a fabulous model and singer-songwriter, as I understand. And we basically connected, and I was fascinated with a lot of the different things that you were doing. But I wanted to have you on the show today, Amanda, just because you've been to Fashion Week, you've been modeling, and that's a tough industry to kind of love yourself. And I love talking about confidence. So, Amanda, how do you stay confident when you're modeling? Like, what do you do for that?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. It's such a fun pleasure to be here. So thank you for that, Shawna. You're beautiful and lovely. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. You are too.
Thank you. Back to your question. I feel like when I'm modeling, it's sort of a role that I go into. So when I go into that role, I know that role acquires some confidence, you know? So when I step into that role, I just become this confident woman that is just proud of who she is and feminist and just like owning the world and owning her dreams and goals and aspirations in life, really. So it's more that I feel like makes me confident when I'm modeling, sort of, and that's why I want to do it as well, you know?
I love that. So is there certain things that you do for your mindset to keep yourself sharp? Say you're having a bad day or something came up. Is there a particular routine that you have being a model?
Well, I try to exercise in a regular basis, so that makes my mind in shape, sort of, and also my body, and my psychic. Is that correct word? I'm from Norway. I have to ask these questions. Is that correct?
A psychic is like you can sense the future. So,
oh right, the psyche. Is that correct?
The psyche, yes.
Okay, good. It's a psyche and the physical appearances, sort of things, Yeah, that's like, it affects each other. So when you exercise and you do running or strength exercises, then it will affect your mind as well. So I try to do that, and as well as speaking to myself like I am beautiful or I am proud of who I am and trying to be. And also I think to be kind as well. When you're kind, you feel more sort of confident in who you are as well, because you want others to succeed as well, and that makes me feel more proud of myself and feel more like confident in me. So it's a mix of both things, you always have to make your mind, or try to have your mind sharp, and as well as your body. So I don't know if that answered your question correctly, but yeah.
Yeah, so physical activity that makes your mind sharp, and just being like a nice and kind person, because then you feel like good about yourself, because obviously you have good characters. I definitely think that's good tips for everyone. So I was kind of awestruck the fact that you were in Fashion Week. So that was amazing accomplishment. You're a newer model, so this is something that you've been doing not for a super long time. How was it going into Fashion Week, being a newer model, and what helped you when I'm sure you had nerves going on the runway and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like, I might trip. What was your mental diet during that time, like, to keep yourself calm?
Thank you, first of all, for making me feel so good about it. It's really out of this world, really, of an experience, because it's something that I think all models may dream about, being in New York Fashion Week or Milan Fashion Week or Paris Fashion Week or the biggest fashion weeks in the world, So New York was a big thing for me, and I felt like, now I can do anything, sort of. And as you said, I am a new model. I haven't modeled for a while, and given the opportunity to walk that show was like truly incredible. And to be able to also walk 4 shows and not just the one, it's like, I don't know what to say really, because it's undescribable feeling. It's just you go there and just like try to not trip, as you say, and do your work and feel powerful and make that shot, and then go back and just and then you just want to live it all over again and just do it and do it and do it, because you love it so much to be on stage and to be showing those clothes and fronting them as a model is. Yeah, it was such an honor, really.
That's amazing. So when you were practicing, was there things that you did to help you with your walk and that kind of thing? Or were you just basically, okay, I'm doing this, and you were kind of thrown in, or had you had a little bit of previous training beforehand?
Well, I was at Coco Rocha Model Camp in November, so that was a couple of months before I attended New York Fashion Week. And I don't know if that may have worked in my favor to get into New York Fashion Week as well, because Coco Rocha is really such an iconic and great role model, and such a great model in general. So when you can like say that, hey, I've been to Coco Rocha Model Camp, she has taught me some tips, then it might be, oh, she can walk, she can do stuff, I was trained by her, and she gave me a lot of great tips about how to walk in a line and how to practice, and really gave me the confidence also to do sort of anything in modeling, really, but really the confidence into thinking that I can actually do things as a model,
Yeah, for sure. I think that's awesome. So I did a little bit of her training as well. I didn't go to her thing, but she's so cool. She's such I love her.
Me
Actually,
too.
when I first started modeling, one of the first shoots I ever did was I was posing like Coco Rocha, but obviously because she has these wild, crazy poses.
I know. She's insane.
She's so good. Like she's so good at it. And she's Canadian too. So
really? Oh, so you're sort of connected.
I believe she's Canadian. So yeah. I was going to ask you a few other questions, but before I get into that, is there anything about modeling that you wanted to talk about that you think might be helpful for somebody who's getting into modeling, who's maybe a little bit discouraged? Is there anything you wanted to say on the topic?
Well, I feel like it's important to say that in modeling, we focus so much about the outer appearance and how to pose, how to look beautiful in every shot, how to walk gracefully, how to do all these things that looks good from the outside. But to be able to do that, you have to, as we have talked about now, have the confidence within you and feel proud of who you are, and don't be, think, affected by other people's, what's it called?
Opinions.
Yeah, about you, and your body. And then it can be sort of damaging, I think, to your mindset, to your everything about you. So you have to love what you do. You have to be able to feel proud of who you are and really enjoy it, because the minute you start to not enjoy it, then I think it can be a bit damaging. So your inner beauty is really what counts here, I think.
Absolutely. And I think that's so important to remind everyone it's your inner beauty, and to be patient with the process, because everybody's definition of beauty is unique, right? There's obviously a standardized beauty culture, but what everyone finds beautiful is a little bit different because we're all unique and different. So to embrace that as well. And there's a job for everyone. It's just you probably have to be confident within yourself to kind of keep going. And that's not easy. Sometimes you don't see yourself booking stuff, and it's easy to get discouraged, or you see other people. And so with all that, when maybe you're going through a slow period in modeling, how do you remind yourself that you are beautiful outside of the affirmations? Because we talked a little bit about that, but is there anything else that you do to kind of keep yourself level-headed and just still appreciative that all you have to offer when things are slower for you?
Yeah, I feel like you have to sort of remind yourself about your past experiences and see how far you've come and how hard you worked, because that can be, as you say, sometimes difficult to see when you start to comparing yourself with others, or you start to feel demotivated and just thinking that I don't know if I can do this. There's so many other beautiful women. Can I do this? And then just see like, yeah, but I wanted this for a reason, you know, and I tried to work for it and I have worked for it and I have actually booked that job and I did that thing and I did that myself. I contacted maybe that agency or, you know, and see that you actually do work hard. And I think when you start to remind yourself of what you've actually done in the past as a model, then you can actually see like, this is the reality. This is what I've actually done. And then it's maybe easier to get motivated again, because at least for me, it's like that.
I love that. So you're with an agency. Have you always been with an agency or did you ever do any freelance modeling as well?
Well, to be honest, I feel like I have contacted some agencies, but mostly I've done all my jobs myself, you know, because in my Norwegian agency, I've only booked like one job. So, you know, everything else that I do is myself, that is trying to contact designers or being on Facebook and watching all these groups and, hey, we need a model, and trying to get in contact myself, you know. So I feel like I do a lot of freelance work anyway. And I think that you can't really rely on your agency to do all your work as a model because it's so many models. So you have to do a lot of work yourself. And it's hard, you know, when it's a lot of people that trying to do or trying to make the same jobs as you, and it's only one person or a few people that can do what you try to do, you know. So yeah, you have to be a bit freelance as well. And I feel like I've done most part of that myself. So that also makes me proud of me, you know.
And you totally should be. What I wanted to say is, how do you stay safe when you're booking your jobs to make sure you're safe? Do you bring someone with you? Because I know when I used to do a little bit of freelance modeling, I would always have someone go with me. How do you make sure you're okay in new environments?
I think like you can absolutely bring someone with you. I was in a shoot a couple of weeks ago where I had like a shoot with another girl who brought her mom, you know, because there was a booking through Facebook. So you never know, you know, when they're looking for a model and you can't really see maybe what they've done before. You can't, you know, then you try to make this insurances or as bringing a person with you. Absolutely, you can do that. But I have never done that. I try to, not that I say that you can't do that, but absolutely you can. But I think you also can have like contracts or written not assignment, but like contracts where you say like, this is what I'm comfortable doing, this is what I'm not comfortable doing, and making these assurances in advance, really. So that's what I do.
Okay. Just for newer people, if they're starting out, because sometimes people get into weird situations, and I think safety is so important, right? So to always like do a little bit of a background research thing to make sure that they are in fact a legitimate photographer, because so many people can fall into like those situations where terrible things could happen. So obviously doing like a little bit of the checking and sending your contract over is so important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And is there anything before you go into a photo shoot that you do to like help hype yourself up? Like I know before I go, like I love to listen to music to get myself into the moment. I might have an inspirational person that I look up to, and then I kind of emulate that. Is there anything that you like to do before you do a photo shoot? Is there like a beauty routine or something that you do, a sleep routine? Like what would it be the night before a photo shoot?
Well, I like to like freshen my body and my mind up. So absolutely, I listen to music, I put on a face mask, and I shave, and I make all these preparations for my body to be prepared for the photo shoot. And also like if I have seen the clothes in advance, then I can see like what kind of vibe is this. So then I will try to make a playlist that connects with that kind of vibe. So, and maybe like try out some poses in advance in front of a mirror or something like that. And just being like, yeah, loving it sort of, you know, and I think like for me, it's just by thinking about doing a shoot, I get so excited. So it's not much preparations that I need to do, you know, because as long as I am enjoying it, then it will be fine, sort of.
Yeah. So I also know that you're a musician, which is very different than being a model, but kind of the same.
Yes.
Like there's a few things that go with you're working for yourself, that kind of thing. Is there anything that kind of plays over from one career to the next that you find?
Well, I feel like it's all creative things, and I am an educated actress as well. So it's really
Oh,
like I
cool.
love all this. Yeah, thank you. I love all these creative things, you know, when you are in front of a camera or on stage and just being like this powerful woman, really. So that's really what I think connects through different kind of areas. If I understand your question correctly.
Yeah, for sure. And did you want to say anything about like your music career or anything else before we kind of wrap up today? Anything you want to leave our audience with today, like whether it's a book you've read, something you're working on, all of the above?
Yeah, well, I feel like whatever you want to do in life or achieve in life, you can make it happen. You just have to like trust the process and be like, take small steps and don't feel like you have to do it all at once. Because if you trust the process and work hard, it will eventually happen. So you have to, yeah, trust yourself and trust that you can make anything happen, and maybe not expect too much too fast, because it is a slow road. So, and I think the platform you're sort of building, if you're building it like slow and steady, then it will be more steady. Even though it may go slow in the beginning, it doesn't mean that you're standing still, you know? And as well, like we talked about a bit earlier, if you're having a bad day, it's not like the end of your career. It's just a bad day, and then just move on, sort of.
It's amazing. Thank you so much, Amanda, for sharing your insight and like some of the amazing achievements that you've done and sharing how you work your career, the things that you do for some aspiring models that might not think that it's possible for them. So I really appreciate you being on the show, and hopefully we'll be able to reconnect at some other point.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you everyone for listening. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for listening to the latest episode of Reawakening Beauty. Subscribe to the podcast, hear more inspirational stories and tips related to all things mind, beauty, skin, and soul. I also encourage you to check out the show notes for additional information about my guest, the topics discussed during the episode, and of course, more information about me, your host, Shawna Patruno. If you want to be a guest on the show or just want to reach out and say hi, you can reach me on Instagram, LinkedIn, or email. All these details can be found in my show notes. Thank you so much for listening and have an amazing day.